Oh, Paula.
Jesus Christ.
English.
Okay.
But still, she's right because we looked at it last Friday. Let's have Lusinga.
Comprehension.
And anything you remember about comprehension? Anything you picked from that lesson?
Okay, let's have Shonandagire.
Yes, teacher, I remember we looked at need and needn't. We were making sentences using them.
For example?
For example, we'd say maybe I think she buy a car, then need she buy a car? Something like that. Yes.
Yes, you're correct. Thank you so much. So that's what we looked at last week, comprehension, and we looked at how we can answer questions to do with giving meanings. We identify that if the word given is a noun, we have to use a noun to answer. If it is a verb, we have to do the need and needn't. Okay. So Letitia, I'm going to mute you. So we are going to look at something different today. We are going to look at application letter, how to write an application letter, how to write an application letter. I know most of us have ever written application letters. Maybe you are applying for a post, you want to be a leader in your school, you want to be a prefect, you want to be, maybe you want to get a job, something of that kind. So that's what we are going to look. So that's what we are going to look at. And if I can ask you, how do we write? I know it's there, but how someone can help tell us briefly how we can write an official letter. What do we consider when writing an official letter? I'm going to request someone to take us through briefly what to consider when writing an official letter. Anyone who can help us? Remind us. Angel Ntongo.
Teacher, do you want like the steps?
What do you follow when you're writing an official letter? Briefly.
Teacher, you write the letter must have two addresses: the receiver's address, the sender's address, and the receiver's address. Then the date, then the reference. Then it should have a body. Then the reference, then the introduction before the body, and then the body, and it should have a conclusion. And then maybe if it's an application letter, you must have references to writing about. If you want a post, maybe people, they can ask about you, something like that. And then you sign off with your name and your signature and your name.
Okay, thank you so much. We would have shared this a bit late before, a bit late after us discussing, but we shall go ahead and talk about that. So we have said that we normally apply for a job or a vacancy, and our intention of writing that letter is to impress the employer. Employer is the one who is meant to give us that job, okay? Remember, you're supposed to impress. Remember, there are so many people who are applying for that job. In case it's supposed, you're going to be maybe the head girl or the house leader, and you're not the only one. So you need to make your application letter impressive. And this would depend on the language you're going to use. Okay, that is very, very important. Okay, and an application letter should not be lengthy, but straight to the point. Remember, you might be so many. So if you write an application letter on 4 pages, the person won't have that time to read your letter. So it has to be, at least if I might say, on 1 page. Okay. However, if you have more information, do not say that, no, I'm not going to complete my application letter because the teacher told us it should be on 1 page. No, if it is an examination and you've written on that page and you need to include more information like the signing off, yeah, you can go to the other page and you complete your work. But the best application letter should be presented on 1 page. That is very important for us to note. And we also have to know that an application letter has 3 paragraphs. Okay, we shall look at that. It has the introduction, apart from the format or the sender's address, the receivers, and all that. It should have 3 paragraphs. It should have the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. And in most cases, we need to know what we consider or what we should include in each and every paragraph. What do we include in the body? What do we include in the conclusion? What do we include in the introduction? Okay, so as you read, always remember, the moment you miss out an aspect, then you lose a mark. And I know, guys and girls, we are so bright, we can never miss out a step when it comes to English language. So we are going to look at the steps taken when writing an application letter. It will apply to any application letter. What you need to do is to change the words, to change the language. When you're applying for a job, it will depend. When you're applying for a post, maybe at school, it will depend on what you are writing. But the format will be the same. So we have said that when you're writing, of course, the first thing to do is to write to have your address, who is writing, and it is presented on the top right hand corner, and it should be in small letters apart from the initials of the address. For example, Saint, the S has to be capital. Maybe Saint Irene, the I has to be capital. So all the initial letters have to be capital. I've given you this work. I've made it very, very clear so that we get 20 out of 20 in case it is an application letter. And I believe that you're going to pass an application letter, just like you pass other topics. So that's why I've gone ahead, or we have gone ahead as a department or your teachers to make it as detailed as possible and simple as possible so that you understand it. And we have said that the address should be properly punctuated with commas and a full stop at the end. That is very important. And after that, we shall have the date, which is of course well written, the way it has been written there. Just because there isn't space in between the 2nd and November, because as you type, the 2nd will be powered, which is not right. So that's why we don't have. So if teacher Angela can help us. There. Okay, you see that? So that's why I didn't put the space there, because when you put space, the ND is powered. So, but as you write, make sure that you leave that space. You know, I don't want us to compromise when it comes to language. So the next one is the receiver's address. Who are you writing to? And it has to be complete. Okay, It has to be complete. Sometimes they might not give you the box number, but be creative enough to have it there. If it has been given to you, then you write it there. So after that, and it is also well punctuated, commas and then a full stop at the end. So after that, we shall have the salutation. Who are you writing to? Dear sir, I think we have looked at that already. And we say, you're not supposed to say, dear sir, stroke, madam. That is not correct. And if you're not sure of the person you're writing to, then it's better to use dear sir. That is very, very okay. Then we shall have the reference. These are the things we've been looking at, but we shall re-emphasize them so that you do revision. So we shall have the reference, and the reference is the reason why you are writing. Why are you writing? To apply for a job as maybe a job as a what? As an office messenger, to apply for a post as a head girl. So why are you writing? That will be the subject or the reference, which is always sometimes underlined if written in small letters. If written in capital letters, you don't need to underline. So after that, we go now to the introduction. That is our first paragraph, okay? And the introduction states your expression of interest, why you want that job, okay? What are you applying for? And if you read the advert in maybe in media, internet, it can be in newspapers, it can be on television, it can be on radio, we normally quote. Okay, we are going to look at that. If it is in newspapers, you'll say maybe in reference to the advert or advertisement that appeared in this newspaper of this date, I humbly apply for the post as a head girl or as a head teacher or as a messenger, anything you are applying for. But it's always better to quote the source of the job advert. If it is not given, then you don't need to include it there. After that, we shall go to the body, and we have said the body gives the details of the applicant. The person who is applying is an applicant. What she's writing is an application letter. Who you're applying to is an employer, or it depends. If it's a school setting, it will depend. Maybe the officer in charge of campaigns or elections, something of that kind. So we shall say that the body gives the details of the applicant, like the age, the qualification. You have to mention the added advantage. What are the qualities that make you unique? What makes me as an employer leave others out and give you a job? So these are the qualities we are looking at. We are going to look at that later. And after that, you have the conclusion. And the conclusion is to wrap up by showing your optimism. Your hope is optimism, requesting that you shall be considered. Okay, requesting that you shall be considered. This is the part where we normally say, maybe I'll be grateful if my application is considered. As simple as that. But it has to be a paragraph because it is a conclusion. Remember, we said there are supposed to be 3 paragraphs at most. You know, the body can be longer and you have 2 paragraphs for the body, but at least we should see the paragraphs well laid out. Okay, so after that, we shall have the signing off. Sorry, the referees. And the referees are the people we normally, the employer will always consider just in case they need to know more about the applicant. Okay, so we are normally told that referees are not supposed to be your relatives. You can't say mother or mommy Irene or daddy Isaac as the referee. No, it has to be, yes, mommy Irene can be a manager or can be the head teacher. So in that way, you write head teacher, but not mother or father or uncle or sister. Okay, so for the referees, we write the name of the person, the post, and then the address or even the telephone number, okay, or the email address. Anything you can avail on your paper. What matters is, do you have the name, the post, and then one of the sources that person can be reached out just in case. It can be a telephone number, it can be an email address, it can be a box number, anything you can include there is okay. So after that, we are going to sign off. Okay, and we sign off on the right side of the page because it's where we started
Tongo,
writing
please.
our
Why is your hand
letter.
up? Can you say
To
something?
ask a question after the explanation.
For explanation, you ask. So the signing off is done, and we normally say yours faithfully. Okay, and if I may ask, when do we use yours sincerely? If we still remember, when do we use yours sincerely? I can have someone to answer that because we have 2 ways of signing off.
We can have Rosemary.
We use just sincerely if the person was addressed with their name in the beginning.
Okay, thank you so much. So if we address the person in the salutation by their name, for example, dear Mr. Come see me, then we shall have yours sincerely. Okay, say, dear sir. We are going to use yours faithfully. There is something I discovered that in most cases, when you're writing to a superior, for example, a student writing to the head teacher or to the teacher, that student or that person is supposed to say, dear sir, dear madam, not dear Mrs. or dear Mr. Okay, but if you were a student and you're writing to a you're writing to the head girl, then it is okay to address that person by the name. That's something I discovered. So if you're writing to a superior who is not in your bracket, maybe a student or a teacher, maybe as a student to the head teacher, maybe as a vacist to the manager, to the human resource manager, we are supposed to use dear sir or dear madam to make it more formal. Okay, since we are writing formal letters. But if you're writing to maybe a person in your own bracket, I don't know whether you're getting me, maybe your fellow student, but this fellow student is maybe the head monitor or the house leader, then in that way. But initially you're all students, then you can address that person by the name. If I'm a teacher and I'm writing to the head teacher, that is okay. If I'm the deputy head teacher writing to that head teacher, that is okay to address the other person by the name. We get that. So if you're writing to the head teacher, you're not supposed to say dear Mrs. Maybe dear Mrs. Katongole. Okay, it's better to say dear Madam. So we shall sign off, and we shall say maybe with yours faithfully, then our signature and the name in capital letters. So we are going to have a sample, but before that, we are going to have some questions. Ntongo, Angel.
Teacher, I wanted to ask, in case we are in an exam and we are maybe stating the people that can be reached out to get more information about us, and we are not sure, maybe I want to put someone's contact, but I'm not sure. Are we excused from putting something vague?
Yes, you can. You can be creative. It's not being vague, but being creative. Okay, so you can be creative and you put there something else. What we want to look at is, do you know that you're supposed to include a telephone number? After all, we are not going to call those people when we are marking. But if you're writing an application letter and you're really applying for a job, you're supposed to be authentic, because they normally contact those people. Okay?
Yes, teacher, thank you.
Okay, another person. Okay, Mwesigwa Jemima. Mwesigwa.
Teacher. Teacher, when you're writing like a letter to the head teacher, do we write the both addresses, like the receiver's address and also the sender's address, or we only write the head teacher's address?
Okay, thank you so much. So for examination purposes, we shall need all the two addresses, okay? But if you're writing to the head teacher and you've already written maybe Mary's College Mwea, and it is the same address you're going to use, you don't need to repeat Mwea College again. You can just say the head teacher and then you continue. But for examination purposes, we need all the address fully written the way they are supposed to be written. Because if you just say the head teacher for the receiver's address and you end there, you lose a mark for that part. Okay?
Teacher.
Yes?
Teacher.
Yes?
What if you're like a prefect? What if you're prefect, like the head prefect? Can you say the head prefect and then you write your name and your class, and yeah, can you?
For signing off?
No, for the address.
You are the head prefect aspect will come in when you're signing off. In case you're the one writing, we just need the address. In case you're signing off, you say maybe yours faithfully, the signature, the name, and then in brackets you say the head prefect or the class monitress of senior 4. Okay, another person. Okay, Esther.
Teacher, earlier you mentioned that unless we are sure that the person we are writing to is female, we should all use sir. Is there a reason behind that? Can't I use madam even if I'm not sure about the gender?
You can use madam for examination purposes, But in future, when you're applying for a job, in most cases, we say that you need to find out, you need to do research. Who is this person I'm writing to? Okay, is she a female or a male? But there are times when you don't know the gender. You can say dear sir, okay? That one will be okay. But for examination purposes, you can still have dear sir, dear madam. You won't lose a mark. What we are looking at is the salutation, and you get your full point. Amelia.
Yes, I'm asking about when you talked about yours sincerely. You said that we use yours sincerely when they have given you the name, or when you know the name of the person you're writing to. So, for example, if they tell you to write to your head teacher, he is not in our age bracket. So, if you know his name, why can't when we are ending the letter, do we write yours faithfully or yours sincerely? Because there you still you know his name, although you have not used it.
Because you have used dear sir or dear madam for salutation. Okay, so for signing off, of course, you have to use yours faithfully, yours faithfully and a comma, yours faithfully. Okay, so since there are no questions, we are going to look at that sample. Teacher Angela, we need to look at that question first. What does the question say? Teacher Angela? Okay, so we have a question there. Imagine you are in senior 4 vacation. So you shouldn't say that I'm still in senior 3 or 2. No, we are imagining, and you wish to get a job, a part-time job as a messenger. After reading a job advert in the Monitor of 3rd November 2021, write an application letter to the Human Resource Manager, Zarango Group of Companies. So we want to be a messenger, and the person we are writing to is the Human Resource Manager of Zarango Group of Companies. And another thing we need to consider is we have completed our senior and we are in I am in my vacation. And another thing you need to take note is that it is a job advert and it appeared in the Monitor of 3rd November 2021. Whenever you get a question of this kind, any question, always study it the way I've done. You can even get a pencil and underline all the important aspects you might need when you're answering your question. This is part of planning. You don't look at that question and you start, it is a letter. Thank you, Jesus. Let me start off. No. What are you going to write? How are you going to write it? It is very, very important so that you do not leave out any aspect. You know, we are working for 20 out of 20. That is our target. So the moment you say, messenger, messenger, no. I didn't look at the aspect of messenger. I didn't look at the aspect of a job advert. You're losing a mark, and we are not supposed to lose any mark here, just like in any other topic. We are working for 20 out of 20. That should be our target. So planning is very, very important. Studying the question and understanding it is paramount. Okay, so after understanding our question, we have our answer over there. And we have said that we are starting with the address, and the address is right there. I've punctuated it. It is Mary's College, Mwea, PO box, it is slanting. I have put a full stop at the end. That is punctuation. That is language. Okay. The moment you don't punctuate, you're losing marks. We are supposed to punctuate. We are supposed to punctuate our date the way I have done. Capital N for November. You know, look, I'm talking about all these nitty-gritties so that you understand better.
Excuse me,
Nasona.
teacher.
Yes.
After writing the first address, you skip a line, like after where, then you skip a line, then the date, then you skip a line.
And that's the end. That's the end. Just because I typed it was, it would be a bit tricky for me to skip a line there, but not tricky, but it is obviously that it is obvious that we skip a line after the sender's address. And when you're going to write your date, it is supposed to be written the way it is written there after skipping a line. So after that date, we still skip a line and write the sender's address. We are writing to the human resource manager of the Rango group of companies, PO Box 34 Kampala. If the address is not given, be creative enough to have the address there, okay? Just in case we have an examination, okay? If it is not an examination and you're applying for a job, then you're supposed to do your research and get that address, but it has to be there. Then after that, remember we have skipped 2 lines after the sender's address and after the date, and that's the end. We are not skipping lines anymore. So we shall have our salutation, and we have said we are writing to, we are saying that it is dear sir, and after that a comma. So below that comma is where we are going to write the reference or the re. I'm not skipping a line there, okay? We have skipped 2 lines so far, and that is the end. We are not skipping any other. So we shall have the rest is, why are we writing? We are writing to apply for a vacancy as a messenger. So I'll have that reference. If it is in capital letters, I underlined it there, but if it is in capital letters, you don't need to underline it. If it is in small letters, you underline it. And I request you to write the reference always in capital letters, because if you, there are some rules we follow. We have to have the nouns having capital letters. The letters of the nouns in your reference should be capital, in case you want to write it in small. So PA for application will be capital, V vacancy will be capital, and then M for messenger will also be capital, and the rest will be small. So if you don't know that rule, then you might lose a mark for the reference. However, if you write it in capital, then you have your, what you need to remember is it's supposed to be underlined if written in capital letters. So after that, we are saying that, oh, there are questions. I can't see hands. Teacher, proceed.
Okay. Let's have Kadu.
Excuse me, teacher. For the first address, can you, let's say that because you vexed, can you use address?
Example?
Like address like is .12 190 Road, Ntinda, Kampala. Can I use that?
No, you can. Okay. You can.
Thank you.
Any other person?
What's that? This Uera. Yes, Uera. Let's have Nanduga.
Teacher, I want to ask about
You were asked.
Okay, let's have
I'm
Amelia.
asking about
Teacher, I'm still confused about the lines. Now it's skipping the lines because it looks like Mary after Mary's College, where you skipped a line, then P.O. Box 12, you skipped a line, then where you skipped a line. So I'm confused.
No, you're not supposed to. Sorry about that. It is the computer, but we are not supposed to skip lines. You even realize that when you're writing our body between the introduction and the body, it looks like we skipped a line, but we didn't. Okay, I'll say the only part where you're supposed to skip a line is after the receiver's address. Sorry, the sender's address when you're going to write your date, and then when you're going to write the receiver's address. But the rest, there are no lines skipped. That is a computer issue.
Oh, okay, thank
The
you.
last one is Lusinga.
Teacher, when you're writing the real application for a job, do you write the receiver's address on top of the envelope so that they can know where to send the thing, the letter?
You're supposed to. You're supposed to. Okay, so we can continue. So that is our introduction. Remember, the advert appeared in the monitor. So we are going to say following the advert or in reference. Actually, should be in reference to the advert that appeared in the monitor of 3rd November 2021. I hereby apply for the job as a messenger in your company. Thank you so much, Teacher Angela. So in reference to the job advert, if the job advert is not there, then you can just say, I hereby apply for the job as a messenger in your company, full stop. Just one line and you get your mark. That's why passing English is so easy, provided you know what you are writing. So that will be our introduction. And remember the body, you're supposed to give us the details, your details, maybe your age and your current level of education, and then the different qualities you possess, okay? So I've said I'm 17 years old. Remember, I've just completed my senior 4. I'm 17 years old and currently in my senior 4 vacation. So that is the level of qualification. So I am not only possess an excellent command of the English language, but I'm also energetic and focused. So why are you saying that? Okay, because throughout my ordinary level, I have been diligent and focused as a house leader and sports prefect. I have always worked hand in hand with other prefects and teachers. This has helped me improve on my communication skills. Do you see that? So that is something that is unique. So many other people who have applied, but trust me, they're not going to be
Teacher, we can't hear you.
People had unmuted and were making noise. Okay, so we were saying that that is our body. I've already read that, and it shows someone's video. Someone is chewing. Okay, we had said that the body shows the uniqueness, something unique about you. That's going to make me as an employer call you for an interview and not applicant C, okay? So you're also going to give us some evidence, okay? You're saying that you're energetic. You're saying that you have a good command of the English language. What is the genesis of that, okay? Give us a role you played that has helped you, or that helped you, or that geared the aspect of being excellent in that aspect, okay? So the proof there is being a house leader and a sports prefect, okay? So you can look at all the unique qualities, all the characteristics you possess, okay? You can be good at communication skills, you can be hardworking, you can be intelligent, you can be enthusiastic, you can be humble, you know, you can be God-fearing, you can be incorruptible. You know, there are so many good characteristics or qualities that can make you really get that job or post. So that's what we should look at. Anything you can mention. I can even get other qualities from you. You can help me and give me other qualities. I can take some 2 hands. You give me two qualities. Teacher Prosi. Okay. Daphne Namugabo. You can give us 2 qualities.
Timekeeping, punctual, or even you can say ever ready.
So I'm a good timekeeper and always punctual in case I've been given a responsibility or an assignment to accomplish. Okay, so you give us something extra other than just saying timekeeping and time conscious. Okay, so we can have Rebecca Faith.
I am dedicated and multilingual. I can speak very many languages.
I can speak very many languages and dedicated, which can make it easier for me to communicate to so many customers. People. Okay, or so many people. Thank you so much. So those are the qualities we are looking at. And then finally, you conclude your, you conclude your what? Your letter.
Do you skip a line?
We have said, no, you don't. We don't skip lines right from the salutation up to the end. Okay, right from the salutation up to the end. The skipping lines here is because of the computer. But as you're writing in your books, you're not supposed to skip any line other than the one skipped between the sender's address and the date, between the date and the receiver's address. That is all. Okay, so we have said, I shall be grateful if my application is given your consideration. As simple as that. I shall be grateful, I shall be happy if my application is responded to positively. Or if my application is considered. Very good, as simple as that. And you get your mark. Okay, so after that, we shall have the referees. And you say, for more information, please contact 1. We just need 2. We don't need many. 2 shall be enough. And as we've said, Mr. Jacob Muira, the head teacher, Mary College, Mwea, and that is the box number. And we have Mrs. Barbara Okello, the Director of Studies, Mary College, Mwea, that is the box number. Okay, 2 are enough. Okay, and that is the order. If you want to include the telephone number, you can include it there. If you want to include the email address, you can still have it there after the box number.
Yeah, it's a must to have those people there.
It's a must. We are looking at this lesson. So because it is a must. Okay. If you're applying for a job, however, okay, I know why you've asked. If you're applying for a job, then there is what we call a curriculum vitae or a CV. So you normally have those two documents, and we normally have the referees in the curriculum vitae, okay, or the CV. But since here we are having one number as an application letter, and if they are to ask you in an examination, they'll ask for an application letter. So we need to have the referees there. It is compulsory. If you don't write them there, you don't get a mark. So it's mandatory in case you want to get our target 20 out of 20. Okay. So lastly, we shall have the signing off. And as we've said, if you have used our salutation as dear sir, dear madam, we shall have yours faithfully. A comma is important. Then you have your name in small letters or a signature. I don't know which signature you use. And then you still have the name in capital letters. The first name is the signature, and then the second name, which is in capital letters, should be your name.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
Teacher, what if you have a real signature and you don't write your name in small letters?
Then you append your signature there.
Okay.
We have Akelo.
Teacher, I
Akelo
have
Daniela.
two questions. So the first one is in the event that you know that the job is existent, but you didn't see it in the advert, what does the employer need to know how you found out about them, or that's not necessary?
You don't need to. You don't need to. You don't even need to say that I got this the information from my friend who works at Gayaza High School. No, they don't need to know that.
Okay, Nasimbwa.
Teacher, I still have another question.
Okay.
Also, in the event that you didn't have any leadership role, what do you write down?
Then you don't write it down. Okay. You just give us
only
the
write. Okay. Okay, thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. Another person?
Yes, teacher. Could you please repeat the explanation for the reference?
Okay. The reference or the referees?
The reference.
Okay. So the reference is the subject or the reason why you're writing. Okay. You're writing to apply for a vacancy. Okay. So that will be your reference. You're writing to apply for a post as a house leader. You're writing to apply for a vacancy as a messenger. So in most cases, all the references we have in letter writing normally tell the receiver why you are writing. If it is a complaint, then the reference will be complaining about inadequate water supply. Something of that kind.
Then Mutoni. Which one, Esther?
Teacher, I was requesting that you post the recording for the previous lesson because I had some internet disruptions and I can't find it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any other person?
No.
Teacher,
Any other question?
okay, Cha, how are you supposed to like write? Okay, I had said something about underlining the reference and writing in capital or small letters, and I never understood it.
Okay. So of course, I've said that for classwork or examination purposes, let us write the reference.
Isaiah, have you heard?
In capital letters, and you do not reference or to write. It might be a bit tricky
Teacher,
because
could you repeat
initial.
that? Teacher, your line got cut off
There are
for
no
a
hands.
moment.
Oh. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Okay, I'm back. So I was saying that if you want to write your reference in small letters, all the initial letters of the nouns are supposed to be in capital. All the initial letters of the nouns are supposed to be in capital letters. So, but it's better for us to write our reference in small letters so that we don't get confused. Remember, we want the 20 marks. Okay. Any other question? So it seems there isn't. We are going to send the work on the Google Classroom. So, and make sure that you do that work. If you don't do that work, sauli yako, it's up to you, but I know you will. So, Teacher Angela, do you have anything to say? Any comment from a teacher before we close this chapter? Okay. Okay, you have been requested to buy the Return of Ungofu and read it. Okay, so if there isn't any other communication and question, and I know you have understood, I thank you so much for being such a wonderful class. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you so much for doing all the work we send on the Google Classroom. And I wish you all the best. Never give up.
Please don't forget the
Isaiah?
lesson
Thank you,
recording.
teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Isaiah?
Thank you, teacher.
Thank
Teacher,
you.
which work
are you talking about?
That's now. Also, could they resend the work for if the if clause?
Bye.
Oh.